Welcome back to the Traders Network show, broadcasting worldwide from Greenwich, Connecticut. I'm Matt Bird. We're here covering the 2019 Greenwich Economic Forum, and my next guest is the Managing Director Head of the Sustainable and Impact Investment Strategy for Bank of America, Jackie Vanderbrug. Jackie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Listen, I appreciate you taking the time to come over here. I know you have a lot going on. You're coming right off the heels of a workshop panel. Why don't you be our eyes and ears? Tell us a little bit about what you went through.
Yeah, so we had a great conversation. I mean, part of it, to be honest, is starting with when we talk about sustainable and impact investing, what are we talking about, right? Because as you know, this can get a lot of jargon and a lot of language, and there's a lot of misperceptions out there, like that this is about ethically losing money.
Correct.
So we started with a little bit of what are we talking about and who's interested.
Yes. Yeah, and where did it ultimately end up going?
Well, so, I mean, we talked a lot about the millennials' interest in this, and especially as we see a large transition of family wealth, how millennials are saying this is the way that we want to invest for our future, both because we think it's about the planet that we want to live in, but also because we think it's the best way to get long-term returns. So we went into specifics in terms of core themes that are driving, not surprisingly, the environment and climate, gender, and more broadly inclusion, and then community and local investing.
You know, you mentioned climate. I would imagine from an impact standpoint, does climate affect? Is climate a major determining factor now between short-term and long-term investments?
So climate affects everything, right? If you look across, SASB did this research across different sectors and subsectors, really said, look, there's hardly any investments that are not affected by changing climate in some way or another. What we are seeing is investors understanding that what they thought was really a 30-year horizon has come much closer, right? And the impact from climate disruptions to business is now in that 5 and 10-year frame.
Where do you see impact investing, kind of the sustainable, the social corporate responsibility, impact investing arena? Where do you see it kind of shifting in the next 5 years?
So we talk a lot with clients about three things, and we try and keep it really simple. So avoid, benefit, contribute, ABC, right? And so for you, with your capital and your family, what is it that you want to avoid? And do you want to do that for values, or do you want to do that because of risk? Yeah. Right? What are the benefits that you want to have in the world? How do you see corporations benefiting broadly, communities, employees, and their clients, their customers? And then where's that contribute piece, right? As we've created through the Sustainable Development Goals, kind of a roadmap for the world, how do you want your investments to contribute to achieving our collective vision? So I think, what we're seeing is a shift down that leg. So where people initially started with a lot of avoiding, they're focused more on benefiting now. And those who are doing benefiting are saying, okay, and I want to go even further and make my investments contribute.
Now, you mentioned the SDGs, which we spoke about offline prior to this. And our involvement with the SDGs is, and we were huge supporters of the UN SDGs. And those of you who don't know what the SDGs are, they're called the Sustainable Development Goals. But that transitions us into a larger topic, which is how important are public-private partnerships for economic development?
So it's core, right? I mean, I think that what the SDGs got right, that the Millennium Development Goals didn't get right, was that this cannot be a government only or government and civil sector, right? We need governments to work in conjunction with private enterprise, in conjunction, with the broader public to make this work.
Do you think that is because of trust and the corporate responsibility for a corporate to see through and follow through the commitments that they make?
So I do think that the next generation is looking for corporations that are very clear about their purpose and their values, yes. Right? So at Bank of America, you cannot hear Brian Moynihan speak for more than 2 minutes without him starting in on ESG, environmental, social, and governance, is a lens for our responsible growth. It is our commitment. And so part of that is, in the loan portfolio we have in communities, part of that is in our commitment to a $20 minimum wage. Part of that is our commitment to being carbon neutral. And then there's, how is it that we can move forward in catalytic climate investments and things like that?
We only got a few more minutes left before we get a cut commercial break, but I want to ask you a couple more questions. One, how important is this event to the geographic area in this community here in Greenwich?
So there's no question that this event, and specifically if you're in the room today, it's fundamentally different than it was even last year in terms of the role of sustainability woven through all of the conversations, both from these factors, these E, S, and G factors making you a better investor because you can see risk better, you can see opportunity better, and also because it is what the American public is asking for.
That's excellent. Well said. So I guess the last question is, what's next for Bank of America on the sustainability side?
So we will continue to have more conversations with our clients. This has been something that historically has been a smaller fraction of clients saying, I'm interested, and now we're realizing that these are conversations that you want to have with every client, and clients want to manifest this differently, but that aspect of we want to understand what's on your mind. We want to understand, what you want the power to do, and do you want to have the power to have impact through your portfolio?
I don't want to really, put myself in a hole and comment too far on this, but I'm finding also being out there in the media and everything else that people are looking more towards quality versus quantity, and that even goes into how things are made and what they're made of and what they mean, and identifying itself with those brands. Are the sociological, the psychological aspects of the consumer consumption becoming a large part of this?
So there's no question that the millennials especially have thought about this as their purchasing is part of their identity, right? So it's
yes.
I'm drinking fair trade coffee,
yes.
The shampoo that I'm using for my hair or my baby's hair, right? 1 in 2 babies born to a millennial. Do you think that mom and dad, and increasingly dad as he's on paternity leave, aren't thinking about that? So it's all related, right? How I'm consuming, where I'm living, who I want to work for.
And it's become really important things in their own personal ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, listen, Jackie, thanks so much for coming down. I really appreciate you taking the time. Jackie Vanderbrug, the Managing Director, Head of Sustainable Impact Investing Strategy. Welcome. Thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
We're going to be right back after these messages. A special shout out and thanks to our affiliate network partners, ABC, NBC, Fox, and CBS. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The 2019 Greenwich Economic Forum is brought to you by Bridgewater Associates. Meaningful work, meaningful relationships. Churchill Asset Management, Nuveen, a leading provider of senior and unitranche debt to middle market companies. Ropes & Gray, bright past, brilliant future. Aurora Capital, inspiring partnerships. And Gramercy Funds Management, we are emerging markets. Special considerations to Bank of America, life's better when we're connected. Noah Private Wealth Management, a leading wealth and asset management service provider in China. Guotai Jinan Futures, a leading brokerage firm for commodity futures and financial futures in China. China Industrial Securities, a comprehensive financial group providing full spectrum financial services in Hong Kong. And Titan Advisors, built like a hedge fund. Special thanks to the Financial Times and Greenwich Business Institute for hosting us. Special thank you to 1-800 Public Relations for all your PR and media support. And thank you to all the sponsors who helped make this event possible. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go